It is the RIOT Podcast. This is the Wednesday, June 14th edition. If you've got AI in your office, artificial intelligence that you work with, you better watch out.
You better watch out.
You better be real careful because I have a new study here that says that employees who work with AI, artificial intelligence, every day in the office are more likely to become lonely, suffer a lack of sleep, and become alcoholics.
That seems aggressive.
It does. It does. To dive into the study a little bit, they did this across 4 countries where they had 2 different groups of people. One group of people was told to not interact with AI whatsoever at work, where the other group of people was told to use AI for really as much as you can. And the group that used AI experienced loneliness, lack of sleep, and increased alcohol consumption after work. So therefore, I don't know. I don't understand fully the correlation, the relationship these two things have. Why
let's just
AI
make some assumptions. Let's just assume.
All right, let's just assume.
I love assuming.
Let's jump to conclusions.
Let's jump around. Do you want me to start?
Yeah.
So let's start off with the loneliness, right?
Uh-huh. That one's the easiest to figure out, right?
I think that it would make being with AI can make you more lonely because people will try to substitute AI as like another person, right?
Yeah.
And then you realize that they're just not.
Well, sometimes.
Then you're even lonelier.
Sometimes you.
Then you reflect. You're like, I'm really talking to a robot.
Yeah, right. Well, think about this too. Sometimes we don't realize this, but you have a work conversation. Hey, I need to ask you, did you get that report done? And then it turns into, how was your weekend? Oh, how are the family? Whatever. And you have a little small talk conversation, but that's a human thing to do. You don't do that with an AI. If you ask the AI, file this report for me, and it says, yes, sir, and then that's it. That's it.
The end of it.
That doesn't ask you about your family. It doesn't, how was the graduation over the weekend? None of that. What do you got planned for Father's Day? None of that. So that one is easy to explain, the loneliness. But what about the sleeplessness and the alcoholism?
See, I think the alcoholism is an easy one too.
Okay.
Because
lay that one out for
because
me.
the AI is so efficient.
Uh-huh.
Because they're just doing all your work for you.
Yeah.
People are just getting drunk on the job. People are just getting drunk when they get home from work. Maybe they're working from home.
Uh-huh.
And they're like, the AI's got it. I can just type it in ChatGPT.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm thinking. People are getting drunk on the job.
I guess that could be. I don't know if I have a better explanation.
That's what I was thinking.
And then, but what about the sleeplessness? You think you'd have more? You think you might get better sleep? Everything at work is taken care of. I can just get some rest, knowing that tomorrow my problems will be dealt with by an AI. I would think you'd sleep better.
Well, there's only one thing. I'm going to just go ahead and just toss something out there.
Okay, yeah.
Again. There's only one way that I think that I have trouble falling asleep, right?
Okay.
And that's if I'm looking at a screen late at night. So maybe these people were messaging their AI coworker, sweet nothings late at night.
Do you think so?
And it was just they were staying up too late texting them.
Because they were lonely.
Yeah, because they were so lonely.
They wanted some connection.
They just went back to the chat GPT.
The people that are instructing me to do the survey said I should use AI for everything.
Exactly.
For as much as I can, and that includes pillow talk.
That's what I'm thinking. So maybe late at night they were just typing along.
Yeah.
Spending a little bit too much time keeping them up. And so that's what my answers are.
Yeah.
Lonely, sleepless, and the alcoholism. Boom, bing, bang.
The results of the survey, of this study, I should say, are scientific. Our explanations for why the results are the results, very much not. But
yeah,
they're just theories. Just theories that we've thrown out.
Yeah, makes sense.
Hypotheses. And so do with them what you will. Coming up in the show today, we have Would You Rather Wednesday. We also ask your best excuses for getting out of stuff you don't want to do. Some great ones in there. And tomorrow is Choice Champions, where we will be drafting superheroes.
Oh, yeah, I forgot we're doing superheroes.
Yeah.
Oh, this is going to be fire.
This is going to be controversial.
This is going to be so good. I cannot wait to draft the superheroes.
Let us know ahead of time your superhero ranking. Of course, you can always leave that in the comments on the Facebook or YouTube, or text it in to 8772 RadioU.
Before we close it out, something we didn't talk about at all today.
What's that?
And we probably should wish the people.
What's that?
A happy Flag Day.
Oh, happy Flag Day.
Happy Flag Day. What's your favorite flag? You have a favorite flag? Maybe an underrated flag? We were talking about flags a little bit earlier. Not during the show, just in our side time.
Obviously, I have a lot of admiration and reverence for the Canadian flag, as I am from Canada. I am torn. I have mixed feelings if we're talking state flags. The Maryland state flag, where I lived for a long time, never was able to decide if it's way too much going on or if it's actually just enough to be cool.
I forgot about the Maryland.
Yeah.
How did we not talk about this?
That's a controversial
Maryland has
one.
the worst state flag.
Are you? No way.
Yes, because Maryland people are so obsessed with it. It's crazy.
They do love it because it's unique. It's fun.
They love it. It's like if you go to Maryland, like their whole uniform for football is that Maryland state flag. It's crazy.
But think about it. There's 38 states that all have the same flag, basically, to me. You know?
Really?
I think so. I think.
What's the flag?
It's blue and it's got like some emblem in it that probably used to have like something racist that's been photoshopped out now.
Got it.
And they all look the same. Utah, Mississippi, Nebraska, most of them all look the same. Maryland's actually different. Maryland, has a great flag. This might be the best flag.
You gonna say it?
I never say anything nice about this state. Arizona. Arizona has an amazing
Wrong
flag.
answer.
A wonderful flag. California's flag, great too, actually.
Let me look up Arizona's state flag. Oh, it's not bad.
Arizona's is awesome. South Carolina has a good flag.
But you quit it.
What do you mean?
Stop avoiding my state flag. The Ohio state flag. Are you not familiar? It's a triangle.
Yeah, it's a goofy one.
It's the only one that's a triangle.
Yeah.
It's a triangular swallowtail.
Why do they do that?
I have no idea.
It doesn't make sense to me. I don't care for that. I think flags.
But it's so unique.
How would you fold that?
It's so unique, though. Like it's ours right away.
You're gonna love the Ohio one and hate on the Maryland one.
Well, the thing about the Maryland one, it is unique, and it would be cool. I think the Maryland would be the coolest. But it's too hyped up, Like if you they don't like to do it silently, It can't be silently cool. Like a lot of people, if I asked them what the Ohio flag is, they wouldn't even know. But if I asked them what the Maryland flag is, they know. That's the one state flag they know.
That's a good thing, I think.
Yeah, it's a good thing. It's hyped up. It's a hyped up flag.
Yeah. We ignored the American flag, which is what Flag Day is all about. I like the American flag.
Yeah, the American flag's cool.
It's cool. It's nice. I think it's a little, compared to some other country flags, it's a little much.
A little much going on.
A bit much. But I still enjoy it.
I like
it's
a good
still
simple
nice.
flag.
Maybe,
I do.
Maybe I feel the same about the American flag as you maybe do about the Maryland flag, where it's just it's a good flag.
It's just hyped.
But it's just you see it so much, especially now as we're 3 weeks away from July 4th.
Oh yeah, when you talk to people in other countries, they're like, I feel like everybody in the U.S. probably just has like a U.S. flag.
Yeah.
That they just fly outside of their house
and
every day.
I don't think other countries do that.
Yeah.
It's just at soccer games they just wear the flag as like a cape. But
yeah, so we have it a little bit too much.
Yeah,
we're prideful.
We do go wild with it.
We do. We're prideful players.
But if you got it, flaunt it.
Happy Flag Day.
Happy Flag Day.
Celebrate. However you celebrate Flag Day, celebrate.
And we'll catch you next time.
See you guys.
Add a little riot to your Instagram feed. Follow @RadioU Official. The Riot. Radio U.
Now, vacations are supposed to be relaxing, right?
Yes.
So why is it that so many couples fight on vacation?
It's a stressful thing. A lot of pressure. Some people can't handle it.
What do you think it is that makes couples fight? What is the top subject that brings couples to fights on vacation?
Fights on vacation. I don't know. I feel like maybe kids.
Kids?
Kids? That makes sense to me, right? Trying to figure out what to do, making plans.
And whatever you plan, the kids probably aren't pleased with it.
And if you try to plan, your wife's not going to be pleased with it either.
Somebody's going to be upset if you've got more than 2 people involved.
Yes.
That's for sure. I actually have here a survey that says one of the top things that couples fight about on vacation, 54% of couples say that they fought over working too much on vacation.
Ooh, work is stressful.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I could see that happening.
I think that's a reasonable thing to fight about. You're out on some kind of nice trip with your sweetheart, and one of the two of you just can't leave work at work. You can't just relax. You
and
can't
it's
just
stressing you out.
Yeah, because the other person wants to spend time with you, and you just won't stop working. Put your phone down.
And it's probably making the person who's working upset too. And then it makes their spouse upset. They're like, well, you're all upset because you're over here working on your phone.
Yeah.
And you can't put your phone down. And now you're all stressed out about it when I don't want you working in the first place. And then, I can imagine the fights incurring.
Or this is a great phrase. 47% of people who do report working on vacation say that the reason they do it is because they're, quote, putting out fires.
At work?
Yeah. That's, like if it wasn't for them, then the whole office would burn to the ground.
Yep.
Everything would grind to a halt. That's how vital they are. And so they can't even stop working on vacation because people would just be screwing stuff up. Oddly enough,
I have no issue not working on vacation.
Yeah, same here.
I've never had a time on vacation where I've ever even considered working. Not even a little bit.
Yeah, and this is a thing that I always say when I go on vacation is once you go on vacation, the fires at work, not your problem.
Put them out when you get back.
Unless the whole business is going to go out of business and you're going to lose a job, don't worry about it.
How vital could I really be?
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, so sales slumped in the third quarter? That's not somebody else's problem. If you can't go on vacation without sales slumping, then the company needs to restructure a little bit.
I would say so.
To me, needs to do some hiring or something.
Yeah, do something. I would think so. So for me personally, I have no issues leaving work at work. But yet again, vacation can be a stressful time for people, especially if you're a couple, couple arguments on vacation. We've all had them, and it's just one of those things that you try to get over them as quickly as possible so it doesn't ruin the vacay.
I'm a massive proponent. Leave your work behind when you go on vacation. Don't even check your work email. If somebody calls you, then maybe answer it. But other than that, just leave it alone. Is there anything else you can think of, like a top subject to fight about on vacation? If you're a couple?
I don't know. The only time I've ever gotten in a fight on vacation was over groceries. So clearly, you can fight over anything on vacation.
You can fight over anything, anywhere, anytime, actually. If you're just in the mood for a fight, you can find it.
And like little sleep, stress, things like that go into it. If you're driving there, that's what happened with me.
Yeah.
I drove the entire way. It was like a 12-hour drive. We got there, immediately went to the grocery store, and just all kinds of havoc ensued. And I got in trouble.
That's what I would think is the top thing people fight about.
Driving?
Is the driving while you're actually on the road.
The stories you love with the opinions you hate. The Riot Radio U.
Our question today coming to us from Zeke, who asked, would you rather go backstage at a concert for one band or for one night, or would you rather go to a music festival with bands you really like, bands and artists you really like for several days? And, of course, doing both with your best friend. 8772 Radio U to share your thoughts. I'll tell you, I'm a backstage guy, and Dee is with me. Dee says that she'd definitely go backstage at a concert. She's done music festivals and been backstage, and she likes being backstage because less crowds.
A little more room back there,
Yeah, a little roomier. So that is something that didn't even come into my thought process of why I would choose backstage. But it is it is a positive. It's definitely a pro.
Oh, for sure.
Having lots of space to move around, people sweating and BO all over you. That's definitely a positive.
That's a positive. Yes, I agree.
But I'm seeing Tim and Regina both texted in on your side at 8772 Radio U saying that they'd rather do the music festivals. For Regina, she says if you go to a music festival year after year, especially if it's a smaller one, it's basically like you're going to a family reunion because you make more friends. You even get to know the bands and stuff that are there every year. So she's on your side.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's kind of how I feel too when I go to festivals. Some of the ones that I go to every year, like it's so much better being in the crowd.
You think
than
so?
It would be even being backstage.
Have you ever been backstage?
Yes, I have. And I think the way that I think about it is, and a lot of my friends, this is what happens every year, and people probably have done this who have went to concerts. People, if you go to festivals, for one of the days, maybe you get like the upgraded ticket, like the gold circle. You're right up by stage.
Yeah.
But it's not as much fun going up there right near the stage as it is hanging out in the GA with all your buddies. If you go up there with maybe one friend or one or two friends, it's almost more fun just hanging out with the masses in the back of the GA regular people. At least that's how it is for me. Because I like to, when the music's playing, I mean, I'm going crazy. So I'm in the back.
I don't know. Maybe it's, I mean, I feel like I felt this way for a long time, that going backstage for me, like going to festivals, that's just old hat. Like I've been to a lot of festivals. I enjoy them. It's not like I dislike festivals, but if you're giving me the option, if it's somebody I really care about, I'd rather go backstage for their show than see them at a festival, because going backstage, like that's not just a fun time. That's an experience that you can relay. Like you're not gonna.
You remember
years from now, you wouldn't tell somebody, I went to Bonnaroo, years 7 years ago. But if you saw somebody really cool backstage, if you saw Skillet backstage or NF, I was backstage for NF 7 years ago. That'd be a great story.
It'd be a fantastic story.
Some much better picks for the socials. And like that's especially if it's you and a best friend or you as a significant other, like that's something you can share. That's a real experience you can share. Just the two of you, a special experience.
See, but I also think that like if you're going backstage, and this is the realistic part of it, like you're going backstage at any concert for any artist, they've probably been on tour for months, whatever it is. They're preparing for like their set or what they're about to go on, right? And I mean, what is it? The people just hanging out there on their phones, chilling out. Getting ready in the back. I feel like going backstage is like maybe there's going to be some snacks. They might have some crackers for you. But at the same time, it's like, and then you're just there. You're there. And it's like, what depends on what the experience is. Am I like hanging out with the artist for 24 hours? Then like, that's cool.
Yeah.
If I'm getting a picture with him and then he's over there like doing me. Like, I'm like, all right, what is this? Is this cool or not? Like, would I rather be out for a whole weekend with my friends? I think I would. Than getting that one-time photo, move along.
Max says he's going off the board. He said he'd rather be in the sound booth mixing.
Oh, he's just mixing it now.
That's one way to do it.
He is the artist.
Well, yeah, that's right.
You can go see him.
Ryan says he'd rather go to a festival because he's never been to one.
Ryan, you need to go to one.
Ryan.
Life-changing.
You'd enjoy it. I'll tell you the other thing I like about backstage, and in the times I've been backstage before, the artist didn't care about me at all. Like, I don't even know if we talked. I don't know if I shook their hand, anything when they were exiting. But
you're making a compelling argument here.
But I also appreciate being able to, you get a different experience if you really care about the music and like the performance of it. Especially for me being a drummer, you get a different view of the drummer from backstage watching the show back there than you do from out in the crowd. And so, I like the crowd experience too, but it's two different things. And the backstage experience is harder to make it happen. It's more of a special thing to me.
Yeah, I get that.
Festivals happen all the time. Backstage, it's a few times in a lifetime experience.
There's only so many times in your life that someone pretends to care about you for more than 30 seconds. And that's one of those times.
If podcast awards were ever a thing, this show wouldn't win any. This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
Let's say your dad died. Funeral's coming up.
Sad start.
Yeah, sad start, right?
Nice.
But it's going to turn around here in a second because you go to dad's funeral and in comes a helicopter and out of the helicopter walks your dad.
Oh, he just shows up at his own funeral?
Shows up
in style.
Alive and well. Yeah, in style, to say the least, in a helicopter.
He rented a helicopter?
He got a heli going for his own funeral. This happened in Belgium over the weekend. A dad worked together with a few members of his family to orchestrate what he calls a prank, where he faked his own death with, again, a few of his family members' help, and then was able to show up in a helicopter at his own funeral, where there was a mixed reaction, to say the least.
I can imagine that there was probably some anger, some happiness. I can imagine that there would be some upset people.
Yeah, he was definitely forced to explain himself. Now, some people, of course, you think somebody that you care about has died, and you're not in on the joke, you're not in on the prank, if you can call it that. Some people, when he arrived, ran up to him, tears in their eyes, glad to see him, so happy that somebody they thought was dead came back to life. But many other members of his family and friends, less than pleased. And so he was forced to explain himself, where he says he pulled off this whole situation because he was not happy with the treatment his family and friends had been giving him. So he wanted to teach them a lesson.
He was like, you guys have been kind of mean to me as of late. So I pretended to pass away to show you guys how you'd feel if I wasn't here. That's crazy.
Here's his quote. He says, "What I see in my family often hurts me. I never get invited to anything." Sorry for laughing. I never get invited to anything.
You guys never invite me
So I'm going to
anymore.
pretend to be dead. Nobody sees me. We all grew apart. I felt unappreciated. That's why I wanted to give everyone a lesson and show them that you shouldn't wait until someone is dead to meet up with them. You think it's
So he's mad he's not getting invited to stuff, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I guess
he's getting left out.
Parties, get-togethers.
Well, you a fun guy? You
happy
think he should
hours.
be invited?
He must be. Maybe people don't like having him around, or maybe they just kind of forgot about him. But either way, he felt unappreciated, unseen, and so he orchestrated his own fake death and then funeral to try to teach these people a lesson. You think it's going to work? You think that these folks, his family, is going to be inviting him to stuff going forward?
Yeah, no chance, right? I don't know. I said it's a mix. It's a mix. Because I feel like that there's going to be family members who are like, oh, dang, you were really upset about this.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to try to make an effort to do it.
Yeah.
And then there's going to be other family members who are going to be so mad at him for doing this. But I think they'll still invite him, though. I think they're going to invite him. I think it's going to work. I think you're going to get, I think you're right. I think it's going to work on some people, where a few of these people that maybe were neglecting him before will now start inviting him more to stuff. But I think the people that are upset are going to be real upset. And if you thought they weren't talking to you before, wait till you see how little they talk to you now. But because what you did was a wild thing to do. It's a wild thing to do, but he's just been lonely. He's just been a sad guy. He just wants some appreciation.
Yeah, but why don't you
From
just
spam?
You know what the problem is that men can't express their feelings.
You should have just said something, right?
Yeah, just say something.
You should have just been like, hey, I'd like to be invited to more stuff instead of faking your death. That seems like an aggressive way.
If your dad just shoots you a text that you haven't invited him to such a while, and he just shoots you a text out of the blue, I feel unappreciated.
You guys should invite me to stuff.
How do you think that's going to go?
Yeah,
I don't know if that's going to go a whole ton better than faking your own funeral. So
yeah, for him it's a lose. It's a lose-lose for dad here. But at the end of the day, he's gonna catch some invites now.
What kind of Father's Day gifts you think he's getting?
Oh, he's getting nothing for Father's Day.
You think he's getting nothing?
Oh, for sure. He's in trouble for a little bit, but he's gonna get invited to stuff.
Oh, you don't think his kids are gonna go all out this year?
I guess they
just
could.
This year only.
Make him feel better.
Oh, hi there.
This worst of the riot.
Crank that up.
Radio U.
When you've got something you don't want to do, you got to get out of it. Somebody invites you to something. What's your excuse to get out of it?
I go through a myriad of excuses because I'm constantly saying no to things.
Myriad excuses, huh?
Myriad of excuses.
Uh-huh.
So on the weekends, my roommate and I, we get invited to a lot of things that we don't want to go to. And we have plans that we would rather do. And so for us, we've kind of went through how many different kinds of excuses you can have.
Yeah, you got a Rolodex.
Yeah, I've got a bunch of different ones. We've used everything from we have to hang out with Jim, my dog.
Got to take care of that. Zafira the dog, or any dog, great excuse.
Oh, fantastic.
I don't know if she's always, for me, my dog is a great excuse to get out of stuff completely, but it is a great excuse to leave
early.
Yeah, I got to go let the dog out.
I'll go, and the other thing too is if I go to the event, which usually what happens, the only time I don't want to go to things is if they're far away. Like if they're like 40 minutes away, I get invited to a lot of things. They're like 40 minutes away.
I'm with you.
And then I don't want to go to those. And so if I do end up going to those, then I'm for sure leaving early. I'm not staying late there. But usually it'll be Jim. He's my go-to excuse. I'm trying to think of my other ones. Recently I actually used we don't feel like it.
Oh, so you basically just said no.
We just said no, which was wild. We hadn't done that before. Because it was like a bunch of our buddies who yet again they live like 45 minutes from us, and they asked us to do things, and we live on the other side of town. Like we don't live near you, and so when you invite us all the way out there for something, there's gonna be times when we're we just don't feel like going all the way over there.
Yeah.
And so the 2 weekends ago, I can't do it because I can't do that.
Yeah.
But my roommate was on the phone with one of them. They called him. They were like, "You guys coming?" And he's like, "No, we're not coming." They were like, "Why?" And he was like, I'm going to be honest, we just don't feel like coming. We just don't want to come. It's far away, driving all the way out there, and then having to drive back. So that was impressive. I couldn't do that. He did it, and then I was like, silent support, yes. I also am not coming.
If you've got a good excuse, a good go-to excuse you use to get out of stuff, let us know. 8772 Radio U. You know what? We'll even, if you don't want us to use your name so that your excuse doesn't get out there in the open.
Yeah, that makes it better that way.
Everybody doesn't know you've been lying to them the whole time.
I remember them saying that, actually.
Why doesn't Ronald want to ever come? Now I know why he never shows up at my parties.
Makes so much sense.
Yeah, because he's got a dog. He doesn't actually have a dog. 8772 Radio U. Let us know what your excuse is.
Radio U's Worst of the Riot podcast.
Question is, what is your go-to excuse to get out of doing something or going somewhere you don't want to go? Isaiah and I both, you can use the dog to at least leave early for me. You have a dog? Yeah, got to get home and let the dog out, feed the dog, that kind of stuff.
Early departures.
Yeah.
Which can be helpful.
Uh-huh. And you said your roommate has recently gone to...
No.
We don't feel like it.
We just don't want to go.
Yeah, which is amazing.
Savage.
It is amazing.
Too much for me. I couldn't do that.
Yeah, it's too much for me too. Because I was thinking like I wish in the United States we could just normalize saying no. Normalize no.
Like, no, I don't want to do that. Yeah, actually.
People can ask you to do stuff. They can freely ask. You should freely be able to say no sometimes.
Like bonfire, I'm out.
Without an excuse, without a reason.
Going to the lake, I'm out.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Cookout, not going to be there.
Yeah, that would be great. But am I going to be the one to pioneer that old tactic? Probably not. Getting some good texts, though. Amanda just always says, I say my mom needs help. My mom needs my help.
Smart.
Who's going to question that?
No one's going to question that.
You'd be like, can't you...
Especially if you're quick with it.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like the most important thing. When somebody asks you, if somebody asks you to do something, you got to have your no prepared. Like if they're like, oh yeah, I'm actually having people over later, you're like, oh my gosh, I'd love to, but I have to have my mom today. But if you say like, oh, okay, yeah. And then like 15 minutes later, you're like, yeah, so I'm supposed to help my mom with something.
Does it depend though? Because if it's like sometimes if you take long enough, then it can be. Sometimes if you take too long, then it seems like you're making stuff up.
Yeah.
But sometimes if you take long enough, then it's like you genuinely checked and I have something.
I guess it could be that way too.
Which falls into what Dee texted in. She said this isn't for her, but her uncle was a pastor, and if he didn't want to do something, he had to move. He'd check his schedule, check his phone, whatever, and just say whatever it was. Oh, I have a funeral that day.
Well, no one's gonna question that.
She says it worked even if it was months in advance.
Oh yeah,
which is crazy, but it works. And yeah, who's gonna question that?
Even if it was months in advance, they're like, okay, yeah, I get it. No worries.
Kimmy texted in. She just says she'll always say, "I already have plans."
Easy enough.
But what if somebody questions you on that though? Then you're really gonna play that close to the vest? Be like, I don't really want to share that with you. It's private. That's a tough move.
Yeah,
it leads to follow-up questions. Alex texted in. I love this one. Alex says, whenever I don't want to go to something, I just say that I'm going to Pittsburgh that weekend.
Whoa.
And then...
That's a big ask.
And then he always goes to Pittsburgh because there's always something to do. So he doesn't...
Wait, what?
Yeah, he follows through.
Nah, I'm just going to go to Pittsburgh.
He doesn't make up an excuse. He makes up an excuse to go to Pittsburgh.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a lot of commitment, but if you don't want to go to something bad enough, then sometimes you just have to make plans.
That's some impressive, that's some real follow through there. And then Ryan just says he can't say no. He can't
say no.
Yeah.
Well, if it's something funny, he says if it's something fun.
I don't think any of us can normalize no. It's too difficult. You have to be built so different.
How about this one just texted in? I'll tell them my wife said no. Just throw her under.
Blame it on the wife.
Throw her under.
Oh man, that's a total
throw her under.
Total dude move the guys will pull off. And
you better hope she doesn't hear you say that.
See, for me, I think you have to ask your wife on that, because if it's somebody that knows her, and then they think that she's always shutting you down, you got to watch. You got to be careful.
You got to be careful with that.
Sometimes my wife would be more mad if I said that than like I'd rather go to the thing than have my wife be mad at me because it sounds like she's shutting me down.
But at the same time, if it's like your friends, like just your guy friends or whatever, then you're for sure throwing that out there and you're not even checking.
Yeah.
If you don't want to do something, you're like, my wife said no.
If it's you and a bunch of guys though, that's just code for I don't want to go.
It could
then
be
you
that
might
too.
as well just normalize saying no. Wow. Well, we've got a lot of options now for things you can say, get excuses to get out of doing what you don't want to do. 8772 Radio U if you've got a good one.
Wasn't that a great Riot clip? While you're here, you should watch more of our videos and subscribe so you don't miss what we do next.